go look at that and check it out. So, all right then. This is who we have so far. So, yeah. So I was going to ask you, Ramon, what's the inspiration, but the inspiration is the cabin.
The cabin. I mean, there's always that imagery of like a cabin or a dwelling in the middle of a forest that's abandoned or inaccessible. And it's interesting, right? Because it's that like double layer of dwelling, right? It's our home, which is earth, nature, and on top of that, a cabin, which is like the physical representation in a smaller scale, right?
Yeah.
And there's always that eerie feeling that we see in horror movies or mystery movies of both, right? Yeah, so that was the inspiration, that combination,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we wanted to write our make up our own story, so I wrote one for the show, and we're gonna dig deep into it through the cards to try to
Get our shovels out back.
explore the story.
So how it came, the cabin was, I did a poll on my community page, and I asked people, where would you like to see a spooky setting, a haunting setting, and an isolated cottage was the thing. But when I went to go make the thumbnail, I'm like, the cottage, that doesn't sound creepy at all.
The cottage, no, it sounds too sweet.
Right?
Very
So,
grandma, homey, warm.
Hansel and Gretel found
I
a
was
cottage.
just going to say, the Hansel and Gretel story. So that won. The second runner-up, believe it or not, was an isolated island. And the one that I thought would win was third place was the creepy castle, the foreboding castle. And I thought for sure the castle would win, but cottage won, and then it transmuted into the cabin.
I like the cabin more. I think it's much more, I don't know, accessible in a way. I mean, it's much more real in a sense. The castle you associate it with like a fantasy story.
Yeah.
A cabin, it's much more, I don't know, down to earth. I think.
Yeah.
Much. Cabins scare me more than
castles do. It's kind of timeless too in a way. Because you can place a cabin in the middle of the woods pretty much like in any time period, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a castle there's like a specific time frame
18th
century associated with it.
I've been scared in a cabin in the dark woods before. I ain't never been scared in a castle before. So castles don't really scare me. Cabin in the woods kind of scare me.
I used to want to live in a castle. That's my gothic fate coming out. But they didn't have any here in South Carolina. So, and I didn't want to name it Cabin in the Woods because there's that awesome movie. I love that movie.
That's a badass movie.
I just love that movie.
Trick or Treat.
Didn't see enough of Chris in his nudity or anything, but whatever.
Nudity. But I agree with that.
You saw the girl in her nudity, but not Chris.
Her nudity? That's my new favorite word, Ginger. I'm just letting you know. Nudity.
Oh my gosh. So we've had some other people come in. We had Joyful Journeys popping in. Ange has popped in. So this is really exciting. I am hoping that this is another branch of Tarotnormal Investigation, and so I really want to know in the comments as well as the after show comments how you like it, and do you want more? So we're gonna have Ramon narrate the story, and
yes,
that's awesome because I can't read.
I need to change my glasses too. So
Yeah.
so I'm gonna read the story that I wrote for the show. At some point in the middle of the show, we're gonna pause to do a few readings on that point of the story, and then
Mhm.
towards the end, we're gonna go back into the story to the readings on specific things. All right,
Okay. Oh my
we're
gosh. Are
ready.
you ready? All right. Everybody
All
got
right,
their little, I got my little boo cup here.
all right. So the cabin. The mist hung thick around her as she wandered deeper into the woods, each step muffled by the wet earth beneath her boots. The trees loomed, their twisted branches arching overhead, creating a canopy that seemed to trap the cold, damp air. Her name was Elara, and tonight something has drawn her to this forgotten place, though she couldn't say why. A shiver crawled up her spine. The forest wasn't just watching her, it was waiting, lying in ambush, secrets tucked away behind every twisted trunk and shadowed leaf. Elara glanced back, half expecting to see someone there, lurking, but the woods were silence, thick with a strange, watchful stillness. The path narrowed, winding through the trees until she saw it, the silhouette of a cabin. It was dark and dilapidated, standing against the night like a rotting corpse. The cabin loomed with a tragic energy, its presence a wound in the heart of the forest. It had once been a place of warmth, of life, but it now was hollow, a carcass emptied of hope. And yet something still lingered within, clinging to the walls, feeding off the decay. The porch groaned under her weight as she took a tentative step forward, her eyes scanning the cabin. A rocking chair, ancient and cracked, swayed slowly in the still air, its worn seat twisted as though someone has risen hastily and never returned. She moved towards the windows, the glass thick with grime, but she could just make out a faint light, a single candle flickering in the dark. The air seemed to thicken around her, every instinct screaming for her to turn back. Something in that cabin was calling her, luring her in, weaving a spell of shadows and deceit. Elara reached to the doorknob, the metal slick and cold beneath her fingertips. As she turned it, the door groaned open. "Grrr," the sound like a warning echo into the night. She took a breath and stepped over the threshold, the shadows seeming to press around her as she entered. The cabin seemed to exhale, welcoming her, drawing her into its twisted embrace. The air was stale, damp, filled with the scent of decayed wood and something sharp, metallic, almost like blood. Inside, the single candle flickered weakly, casting long shadows that twisted across the walls, forming shapes that seemed to reach her. She took a step forward, her boots sinking slightly into the floorboards, which groaned under her weight. In the corner, an old, dust covered table sat with a single chair pushed back, as though someone had abandoned it in haste. As she moved, Elara noticed something unsettling. The walls seemed to shift, stretching in and out, almost breathing. She blinked, and the room seemed to change shape. The layout was warping as if they were melting into something else. She realized, horrified, that every 9 minutes the walls morphed into a new room. Once a parlor filled with moldy furniture, then an old dining room with long forgotten remnants on a table, then an abandoned nursery. Dust settled thickly on a lone rocking horse, and so on. The cabin was a labyrinth of rooms that shouldn't exist, yet One appeared, then vanished every 9 minutes. So you want to pause there to do a reading on it, right?
So that was me. I'm sorry. I thought we were pausing in between the whole story. So I'm kind of lost right now.
Should I continue? I'm going to continue with the story.
Yeah, just go ahead and just continue because we were supposed to pause in the other places where you have card pulls.
Okay. So. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the air grew colder, a deep chill setting into her bones as she felt the weight of the cabin pressing down on her. She wasn't alone. Something was trapped here, waiting, bound to the walls, the floor, the air she breathed. A soft a soft sound echoed from deeper within the cabin, a faint scraping that set her teeth on edge. She turned toward it, and the shadows seemed to ripple, moving in ways that defied reasons. The presence in the cabin wasn't just restless, it was wounded, bleeding grief and rage into the air. Something terrible had happened here, and it had left a scar, festering wound that refused to heal. But what happened here? The candlelight flickered, almost extinguishing, and Elara felt her own heartbeat echo into the silence. She sensed eyes on her, a cold, lifeless gaze that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The cabin demanded something from her, something deep, a reckoning with the shadows of lives that passed through these walls and yet truly never left. She took a step back, her breath quickening, but the door behind her swung shut, sealing her within. The walls seemed to pulse as though breathing, and the shadows thickened, taking on shapes, faces, distorted and twisted, watching her. The candle went out, plunging into darkness as the cabin claimed her, pulling her into its endless, hungry shadow, and her final scream was swallowed by the night. And that's the cabin. Ooh.
Dude, I'm going to just call you every night from now on and let you read to me because that's so relaxing.
It'll be a bedtime, a romantic bedtime, gothic bedtime story.
Yeah, so that was the story of Elara and the cabin. You know, it's she was going, something pulled her into that silhouette that she saw down the path, and it was the cabin. And the cabin shifted as she walked in. She saw a candle, and what was interesting is that the rooms and everything in the cabin shifted every 9 minutes. It changed into different types of rooms, different time periods, and something, a presence within the cabin, maybe the cabin itself, was claiming her, and she faded into the night with it.
That last, that last part of that story. I can't leave it. Sorry. Yeah, the candle went out, plunging her into darkness. I just love that part. I wish we had like projectors from our mind to the screen or something to just visualize all that.
Next time on the next story, I could do illustrations for it.
There you go. Let's see. Was it Jay? Ramon can read the ingredients on a box. It sounds sexy. Yeah. Okay. So, let me figure out. There was a little bit confusion here. So, can we just, because we have a lot of people coming in late anyway. can we just like reread the story, but then pull the cards at your places that you had put in there?
Okay.
And then
Let's do that.
that'll lengthen the story and really, because we have like at least 6 people came in mid-story. So.
All right. So we're gonna for people who are just coming in. I just read a story that I wrote, and it's called The Cabin, and we're gonna be pulling cards on the story just to dig into the energy of what's happening within the narration.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna read it again, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop in certain parts of the story and pull cards based on questions that we previously had inquiring about it. All right.
And they're great
So
questions.
Okay. So just give me one second.
Everybody's like, "Yay, he's going to read it again." You need to start a new series called Bedtime Story Time with Ramon.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea.
It really is.
All right.
Not a bad idea.
Let's start again.
Okay.
The cabin. The mist hung thick around her as she wandered deeper into the woods, each step muffled by the wet earth beneath her boots. The trees loomed, their twisted branches arching overhead, creating a canopy that seemed to trap the cold, damp air. Her name was Elara, and tonight something had drawn her into this forgotten place, though she couldn't say why. The deck in her hands felt warm, almost alive. She stopped, pulling a tarot card from her deck. And this is question number 1. What is the spiritual nature of the energy that surrounds Elara in these shadowed woods? So we're going to pull a card.
Yeah.
In my case, I'm going to be using tonight the Ghost Tarot. And I'm going to be using a Ghost Lenormand. I'll be using 2 cards at the same time, and you're reading based on what I get with these 2. What are you guys using tonight?
I'm using the. I switched when you were reading just because it seemed to fit with the story. I'm going to be using the Darkwood Tarot.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
Perfect. Well, I have different decks for because I thought this through. Because this story was just so intriguing to me. So I got different decks for different parts of the story. So I have the Fates Oracle. I have the Fates Tarot. I have Curio.
Probably should use an oracle.
Curio Tarot. And I'm just dropping all my boxes. Then the Madame Wilhelmina's Tarot, and even I'll save the other one for a surprise, and this Horror Tarot that I got. So, have you pulled cards already, Ramon, for this first one?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me pull cards. If you guys are ready. So the first question, what is the spiritual nature of the energy that surrounds Elara in these shadowed woods?
I can go.
Go ahead.
So the first card I pulled for Elara is the 7 of Cups. She's faced with choices. She's searching to find something. She's trying to find something in order to grow her energy. That's the only reason I could think of for her being out in the middle of the woods at night alone in the dark near a haunted cabin. She's searching for something that is going to strengthen her life. And she's willing to do it under these wicked conditions because it's that important. What do you guys got?
A ghost.
A ghost.
I got tea in my ghost. This is interesting because there's an actual girl in this image. The cave. Ooh, that'd be another one, Ramon. The cave.
The cave.
So the spiritual nature of the energy that's surrounding her in these shadow woods are all about inner exploration and introspection and the treasures of the subconscious mind. And then her intuition, which sparks her intuition and inner wisdom and the treasures of the subconscious. I got that on the shelf. So that's pretty cool. What do you have, Ramon?
So I pulled two cards, and the first card I got is the moon. And as we know, the moon represents illusion, mystery, hidden dangers, psychic intuition. And for Lenormand, I got the fox. And the fox represents cunning, deception, possibly hidden motives. So I feel that this combined interpretation, it's what it's saying is that the woods are steeped in an illusion and intrigue, and kind of like a veil of mystery that it's really hiding its intentions. Right? It's hard to read. There's an energy of like something that's lurking in the shadows that it's both watching and at the same time deceiving, but encouraging Elara to move forward. And at the same time, it's warning her to stay cautious and alert. So that's what I have for that.
Oh, this is
Nice.
cool.
All right, let's continue. So a shiver crawled up her spine. The forest wasn't just watching her, it was waiting, lying in ambush, secrets tucked away behind every twisted trunk and shadowed leaf. Elara glanced back, half expecting to see someone there, lurking. But the woods were silent, thick with a strange, watchful stillness. The path narrowed, winding through the trees until she saw it, the silhouette of a cabin. It was dark and dilapidated, standing against the night like a rotten corpse. Her hand found the cards again, her fingers trembling as she pulled another card. And question number two is, what energy flows around along the path leading to the cabin? And what does it signify for Elara's journey ahead? So again, the question is, what energy flows along the path leading to the cabin, and what does it signify for Elara's journey ahead? So this is about the path, the energies around the path that takes her to the cabins. Let's see what we got.
Seems like I'm missing something.
I'm ready.
Okay.
So I pulled two cards again, tarot card and a Lenormand, and the first card I got is the Hermit, and the Hermit is a card that talks about solitude, seeking wisdom, inside some type of search for a hidden knowledge, and card number two, Lenormand, is the Cross, and this is about burden, faith, a spiritual journey. So I feel that the combination of this is sort of like holds almost like a sacred energy, right? A journey towards some type of deeper truth. And Ilara is stepping into sort of like a realm where like solitude and introspection are going to uncover like hidden burdens and spiritual lessons that will speak to her, right? Because in spite of her not searching for this cabin, there is an inner search of clarity for her, right? In that this obscure atmosphere will reveal for her.
Can I go next because I kind of
Absolutely.
notes on what's it? So the first card I drew was an upside down Eight of Wands. This is a card of swiftness. When it's upside down, it's going to be a slow, long journey. Things aren't going to come around really quickly. But this is a journey of leadership. Okay, I drew from my Talisman Oracle deck. the leadership card. The whole purpose of her journey is leadership. And I drew a Lenormand card, the Rider. And everything on these cards says this is a long journey to step in her power, but with purpose, to bring messages to other people. So that's what I got.
We got a lot of leadership cards here because I pulled the Emperor. So I feel like there was this ancient energy calling to her, pulling her to this path, to follow this path, because the part of her journey was about strength and honor and standing, or in this case, sitting on the throne of her power. This path was the beginning of a new journey for her, an enlightenment kind of journey, a journey with hidden treasures and healing. So that's what I got for the energy of this path.
As we're reading, I'm wondering who this is actually going to touch.
So there's a theme here, because there's a theme of, the journey and the search of knowledge, even though she wasn't intentionally going to this place, and messages that are going to be revealed in a personal level. That's what I'm getting from the combination of all three readings. Would you agree?
Yes. Definitely.
Nancy says coming to terms with her choices.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Nancy's pulling cards. You guys can pull cards too. And if you want to share what you got, Nancy is sharing hers, and she says she got the Fool, drawn to the adventure but unaware of the danger. There you go. I got the Hermit. So the Hermit is kind of like a fool, right? But the Hermit is like clear in what he wants, right? He is searching for internally a knowledge, right? The Fool is in search of knowledge as well, but he's not clear where to search it. He's just going out there,
Funny you
right?
say that about the Hermit, because one of the things I used to teach in my class was when think of the Hermit as a different version of the Fool in time. Now he's fallen down. He's picking himself up. He's looking back, going, "What the hell did I do wrong? What was that?" So he is the Fool, what you're saying, but he's reevaluating his circumstances before moving on.
And if you think about it too, it's not that it just occurred to me, because I didn't associate it that way either. When we get to tens, the tens is like a new cycle, right? And if you count from 0 to 9, it is 10. So it's like a new cycle from the Fool into another version, a new search, but with clarity of, it's where to go, what is it that you're looking for, and a sense of direction. It's not out there, but inwards.
To become his Emperor.
And Nancy, as a second card, got Judgment. There you go. So, and it makes sense, right? Because this will be, we read the story already, but this will be sort of like I feel at some point there's going to be like memories trigger from the shifting of the rooms. And in this case, her pulling the Judgment card, there's going to be a resurrection of, personal experiences, trauma that she might want to heal. So,
haunted
totally makes
story
sense.
aspect, it could be, in the haunted story aspect, it could be that she has died and is now a ghost rising.
That she died?
Yeah.
And then you're taking the story to a different level. This could be a good second part. This could be a good second part.
The sequel.
The Cabin 2.
The
cabin went into the
cabin in the woods 2. The cabin on the lake.
All right.
There was a cave system under the cabin.
Oh, it's now you gave me inspiration for a new story.
Catacombs.
A more extended one. It'll be
Catacombs.
cool to do like an extended one.
Yes.
All right, let's continue.
Right.
So, the cabin loomed with tragic energy, its very presence a wound in the heart of the forest. It had once been a place of warmth, of life, but now it was hollow, a carcass emptied of hope, and yet something still lingered within, clinging to the walls, feeding off the decay. The porch groaned under her weight as she took a tentative step forward, her eyes scanning the cabin. A rocking chair, ancient and cracked, swayed slowly in the air, still worn, its worn seat twisted as though someone has risen hastily and never returned. She moved toward the windows, the glass thick with grime, but she could still make out a faint light. It was a single candle flickering in the dark. Her hand found the cards again, and another card was pulled. And this is the question: what energy lingers in the cabin's porch, and what story does the abandoned rocking chair reveal? So we're gonna explore what's the energy on the porch, and is there any significance in the rocking chair? Right? Is there a message to be revealed from the symbolism of it? And if you guys are ready, you can
I'm
pull.
gonna be that reader
Peep.
for a second. I'm gonna go, ooh. Oh. Repeat the prompts again for me, Ramon.
The
The
question.
energy of the porch.
Um. So, what energy lingers on the cabin's porch, and what
Okay.
story does the abandoned rocking chair reveal? So it's the energy of the porch, and if there's a story behind the rocking chair,
Right.
what
This
what is
is
really
I'm ready. I got this.
okay?
Um,
We got
Go
this.
ahead.
first card I drew is the world card upside down. Okay, this is the
Hmm.
end of the journey. This is it. She doesn't know it yet. The energy of the porch. Her willpower has brought her this far. All right, she's been scared, but she's been kept going. She just wouldn't give up so far. And the last one, Lenormand Malefique, the fox. This is cleverness. Something is happening behind the scenes that she doesn't know about. There's something readying some tricks. No, it's just my voice drops, Mr. OD. It's not you. Um, I have to
This is for
remember to say it
dramatic
loud.
effects
It's for dramatic
He's
effects.
trying to be scary.
to
When I
keep you
really
on
want to get
edge.
dramatic, when I really want to get dramatic, I'll add an accelerate.
That's
So
so
that's what I
interesting. I love the combination of those two cards. And it's interesting because you got the world upside down, and I got the the hangman, right? And this the hangman, it symbolizes suspense, sacrifice, a sense of waiting. And I got the house. The house is about stability, it's about family, it's about that domestic space. And I feel that the combination of these two, what they're saying is that the energy of the porch, as the entrance of the house, it represents like a place that is suspended in time, and it's holding memories and like the essence of those who maybe once called that place their home, but it's disappeared, right? And it tells maybe like a story of sacrifice, of having to abandon that home, that place that was once a place of stability for possibly a family, and somehow they were forced to let go, to abandon it, right? Leaving like fragments of their life and their existence behind. So it's a sense of like sacrifice and abandonment, which what represents the hangman. But in this sense, it's like they were forced to make a sacrifice, make a choice, and abandon this place, their house, which was their dwelling.
Just out of curiosity, does my voice sound any louder? No.
Sounds about the same to me.
Yeah,
I don't feel.
I didn't hear it. I think it's Miss D's hearing. I'm just kidding.
I was playing with the volume on my tablet.
She got her wig down.
That's Miss Tarot D. This is your cue to start getting your hearing aid. That's what she's saying.
She just got her wig too low.
I love it. That was good. That's how I read it.
The wig. It's the wig. Oh,
What wig? She's at home. She must be bald at home right now.
I love the Halloween pictures you posted, by the way, Miss Tarot D.
Oh, I missed them. Okay, so the energy that lingers in the cabin's porch was the energy. You know what? Should we embiggen each other? This is the energy. It was the fight between good and evil. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is a skull. It's holding the sword. So the lingering energy is the energy, as I just said, is the fight between good and evil. And the rocking chair symbolized the happiness that was once there before this evil tried to take over.
Nice.
Okay. Here we go.
Miss Tarot D says you used to be one of her favorite people.
I knew. I just blew it. I just blew
it. I know. She must be saying, "Not you, Ginger. Not you."
I want to share this with you, Ginger, and Ramon and Miss Tarot D can verify this. That was queen level shade. Okay, that was queen level shade.
Oh, no. You'll always be one.
I'm having fun, you guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. All right. Let's continue. All right. So let's continue with the story. All right. So next question. Let's continue with the story. The air seemed to thicken around her, every instinct screaming for her to turn back. Something in that cabin was calling her, luring her in, weaving a spell of shadows and deceit. Elara reached for the doorknob, the metal slick and cold beneath her fingertips. As she turned it, the door groaned open, the sound like a warning echoing into the night. She took a breath and stepped over the threshold, the shadows seeming to press around her as she entered. Her hand drifted to the deck once more, almost as if the cards themselves were eager to reveal the secrets lurking within. She drew another card, and the question is, what hidden energies or spirits await Elara beyond the threshold? And how do they respond to her presence as she crossed into the cabin's shadowed depths? So again, the question is, what energies or spirits are awaiting Elara as she crosses the threshold? And how are they going to respond to her presence?
Oh, Miss Tarot D, that's wicked. She went for the bomb on that one.
Let's see. By the way, Ginger, Faye, Tarot, Divine Moves, don't feel bad that you made fun of the person.
It's fine. Oh, it's fine. Oh, I am shamed.
She's playing. Oh, we had jumpers. Okay. Okay,
all right.
My concentration.
So I'm going to read them to you in the way they came out. The first card
Just had to put that out
is
there.
karmic justice. Right? This is all coming back to her. This has to do with her past, catching up with her. We're assuming that she's an innocent soul on this journey. We made that assumption. We may not have taken into account that she may have been in that dark cabin for nefarious reasons. Maybe she needed some graveyard dirt for her spells. I don't know. But the next card I drew is the man from the Malefic Lenormand card. That means that there is a definite aggressive energy surrounding this situation. And the final two cards that I pulled verify that. I have the King of Swords. This is going right along with the man card. Okay, these are both male energies, but this male energy has the upper hand right now. He's the one who knows the ins and outs of what's going on around him. But this is done not for hate of her. This is done for love of her. This entity wants her. Next.
All right. That was awesome. So I pulled two cards. One of them is the Tower. And as we know, the Tower represents disruption, chaos, some type of sudden change, groundbreaking change. Second card from Lenormand is the Coffin. And the Coffin is about sudden. It's about endings, sudden endings, loss, and transformation. And the combination of these two cards, I feel that there's a spirit bound to some type of turmoil and unresolved endings that is lurking here. And the presence is like a wound that refuses to heal. It's the spirit is like restless. It's an energy that kind of like foreshadows some type of confrontation, maybe a disruption, maybe a grief, and it's drawing Alara into like an encounter that's transformative, that's going to make her face some type of remnants from a shattered past that she had. So the spirit is going to lure her to confronting a lot of her fears and traumas from her previous life, her life before getting into the cabin.
That's the karmic justice card. That's awesome.
Oh, and I'm getting along those vibes.
Yes.
Because here's what I got. I got that. Oh, I lost the question again. The hidden energies. Okay, hidden energies. Hidden energies, hidden spirits. There in the cabin lies ancestry, her destiny of a hidden past. She discovers that she was of a hierarchy, perhaps a coven of some sort. And she was the mistress of, let's say, the gatherings. So that's what I got.
What are the cards again?
Oh, sorry, I was telling the story. If I tell the cards, it'll change the story. I got eight of coins. But I'm going by the images, not the and then this is the Queen of Wands.
She was there doing magic.
Yes.
Queen of Wands, yeah.
Magic.
Yeah, some type of work. It's Eight of Pentacles. That's what it's working on something.
Yeah.
Wands
maybe it's
magic.
And yeah. And Nine of Wands. Nine is it's like a accumulation of effects of things.
Queen of Wands.
For me,
this is Queen. Oh, for
Queen of Wands. Queen of But maybe there is something that needs to be worked. Either she's when confronting her fears, something that needs to work on, or there is some type of inner work that she has to do.
also. She felt much alone in this process, trying to be that higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. I like that. That was great. All right. So when Elara walked in, the cabin seemed to exhale, welcoming her, drawing her into its twisted embrace. The air was stale, damp, filled with the scent of decayed wood and something sharp, metallic, almost like blood. Inside, the single candle flickered weakly, casting long shadows that twisted across the walls, forming shapes that seemed to reach her. She took a step forward, her boots sinking slightly into the floorboards, which groaned under her weight. In the corner, an old, dust covered table sat with a chair pulled back, as though someone had abandoned it in haste. As she moved, Elara noticed something unsettling. The walls seemed to shift, stretching in and out, almost breathing. She blinked, and the room seemed to change shape, the layout warping as if it were melting into something else. She realized, horrified, that every 9 minutes the walls morphed into a new room. Once a parlor filled with moldy furniture, then an old dining room with long forgotten remnants on the table, then an abandoned nursery. Dust settled thickly on a lone rocking horse, and so on. The cabin was a labyrinth of rooms that shouldn't exist, yet each one appeared, then vanished every 9 minutes. So when she walked in, the cabin welcomed her like, yes, you're here. Welcome, new soul, right? And then she realized that the cabin was kind of like breathing, sort of like if it was a living organism. But it was a maze at the same time. Why? Because every 9 minutes, the rooms change into something different, different time periods, different rooms with different contents, right? So we're gonna explore on those rooms. We'll go one by one on each one of the rooms to see what energies we draw. So us, like Elara, we're gonna pull our deck again and pull another card for the following questions. So the next question is, what does what the does this constant shifting reveal about the cabin's intentions towards Elara? So all the shifting that is going on, what's the intention behind it towards Elara? All right. If you're ready,
So, the first card I drew was Rebirth.
hmm,
And I think of this as a death card, transformation, rebirth. She's going, she's about to go through a major transformation. She was hoping to go through a different kind of transformation by being there, but the anchor card from the Malefic Lenormand card deck, the anchor is holding her down. She is not going to continue further on in her quest. We have the Nine of Pentacles upside down. The Nine of Pentacles should be like this, celebrating your life, celebrating everything you have. When it's like this, not a whole lot of celebration. She's reached a point where things are beyond her control. And the energy shifting, every time the rooms shift, it's taking her deeper and deeper into the dimensions, like a combination lock. Every time the room shifts, it's harder and harder for her to find her way out. What do you got?
Interesting. I got the Wheel of Fortune, and we know what the Wheel of Fortune is about. Uh, Cycles, fate, things that are unpredictable, which is kind of like what's happening with the rooms, right? The rooms, there is a cycle every 9 minutes. The rooms are shifting. It's unpredictable what she's going to face, right? And the second card from Lenormand is the snake, and the snake is about deception, complexity, manipulation, renewal also because the snake sheds its skin. So I feel that the combination of these two cards, they're kind of like revealing the intention to manipulate and test Elara's psyche, right? It's pulling her like into a maze of memories and illusions. The cabin has some type of like hidden agenda where fate sort of like seems to twist, turn, and show her only kind of like glimpses of truth and memory while keeping her into some sense of uncertainty, right? Kind of like playing a game with her into memories and illusions and testing her to see what happens. What do you got, Ginger?
All right, so I'm having to write things down so I can remember what I'm doing. Okay. And I'm being distracted by the harshness in chat. Okay, what's a constant shifting reveal? Okay. All right. The constant shifting is revealing the battle of the light and the darkness through time. And that it's also revealing memories of a past that she's so unaware of, that is hidden, and it's a past of romance and fulfillment. But then again, the darkness has tried to seep in. So it's been the shifting of the rooms are the shifting of these challenging story. I got lost. I got lost in my own story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Like the shifting sands, so goes the peace of our lives.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the next question, which is part of that fragment that I previously read. What story or presence lingers in the parlor? And if we remember, the rooms are shifting, and it was a dining room, then a parlor, then a nursery. So we wanna read into what story or presence lingers in the manifestation of the parlor when the rooms were shifting.
I can go first on this one if I can see.
Yeah.
Okay, between hearing loss and vision loss here. I can't see. All right. The energies that linger in the parlor, I believe there was a lot of romance, but yet it was I truly can't think now. But it was I've lost my words. I was ready.
What did you get? What card is
It
that?
was forbidden. I'm not reading the cards. I'm reading the images. It is the Four of Wands. Okay. So what lingers in the parlor of the past was I feel through this card is forbidden romance. What lies hidden behind the curtains that were in the parlor? Lots of spiciness. And then we have, I'm going to stop there. I'm just going to stop there.
Okay, I got something similar. And I'm shocked. I actually got the Lovers. You know, and we know the Lovers represents a lot of things. The balance, the union of opposites, right? But it's also associated with relationships, with choices, with some type of bond, some type of connection. And I feel that it goes in that same sense of what you were saying, right? There was something, some type of romance, some type of relationship involved with the parlor. And the second card I got from Lenormand is the bouquet. And the bouquet talks about joy, about peace, about a gift, right? So it's that gift of a positive relationship that is lingering still with the parlor. So that the interpretation to me is that the remnants of the energy in the parlor is one that evokes some type of warmth, companionship, and it still echoes a ghostly, even though it's a ghostly presence, still of love and close bonds that once represented joy, right? But this energy feels incomplete, sort of like a memory that withered, right? It never left, but it left some type of traces of something that was once cherished. So I feel that the energy still lingers, one of positivity and love, and even though it's not there, it's still attached to the presence of the partner. So it connects perfectly with what you were saying, Ginger.
I got to tap it on my phone.
What do you got, Bobby?
I can't see.
Bobby, I can't hear you. Are you muted?
Yeah, I blew my nose again. Darn it, I forgot to turn it on. When you got a nose this size, you blow it a lot. So, um, the first card I drew was the Two of Swords. You were talking about balance. That's what this card is. This is Libra energy. This is being put in the middle to keep balance, being put in an uncomfortable situation. So she needs to be where she's at. She's the missing piece somehow. What you were saying about the Lovers is interesting because the next card I drew is the Lily. The Lily is a card of sex, sensuality. It's also moderation, balance. So it goes along with what you were saying on both of those, balance and serenity in the parlor. But the parlor is there to help her, actually. It's not there to torment her in the way we might think.
What happened? Hang on.
Ramon got rid of me. He got
What happened? I'm typing away. Sorry.
Fine, be that way.
Sorry.
The last card I drew was cut ties. This parlor is there to help her cut ties with her former life. She may not realize it yet. It may seem to her like everything's tormenting her, but everything's happening for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So I feel that the rooms, each shift is sort of like revealing something to her, right? Evoking maybe like a memory, a trauma that she has to work on, maybe some type of illusion of something she didn't have. So this room, the parlor, I feel that it talks about some type of romance, uh, possibly a lost love, an impossible love that she might have had. Maybe she grew up in a relationship. Maybe she was not loved. Maybe someone messed with her. I don't know. Whatever it is, the room is revealing this to her, and it's sort of like triggering an emotion, a memory, from her life.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
laughing because I'm trying to say that Miss D, I could see her on a chaise lounge indulging in the sweet nectar of life. And it's in autocorrect put engulfing.
So basically, you called her.
I cannot win tonight, and I'm gonna go.
No. Miss T.O.D. says, are the rooms affecting her own self-discovery, or is it growing self-discovery, creating new rooms? That is deep. That is a very interesting point.
Affecting her own self-discovery, or is
she creating the rooms,
self-discovery?
or the rooms creating?
That's interesting. Yeah. It's possible. Because we're just reading what it's saying, right? We're describing what's going on in the story. We don't know who's affecting who, right? But there is a connection.
What you said about the rooms making her face her past, making her admit the truth of the situation, and then we had to cut ties in order to help her cut ties with her past. So I think that is very interesting. And we lost Ginger. Where did she go?
I said I was.
I guess she just took a break.
I was done.
She had to go cry in private. Thank you, Miss Charity. I hope you're happy.
I got my little tissue right here.
All right, let's go to the next question. What secrets about those who once inhabited this space are buried in the abandoned dining room? So we're gonna be talking now about the dining room, right? What's the energy in the dining room? What secrets are attached to this room, which is one of the rooms that get revealed in this process of shifting and new room creation, right? So we're gonna pull 2 cards.
Wow. I truly can't.
And for those who haven't, please remember to subscribe to all our channels.
Maruda was doing good about putting our links in.
I can't wait to talk to her on the Fool's Journey. Okay. We're going to pull all 3 cards from this.
So I'll start.
Go for it.
First card I got is the five of cups, right? And the 5 of cups usually is associated with some type of regret, some type of loss, right? Some type of sorrow. And the second card for Lenormand is the anchor, and the anchor is about stability, some type of long-term commitment, but it could also be stagnation. So I feel that the combined interpretation of the dining room, it holds some type of echoes of regret, sorrow, possibly over things that were lost or unfulfilled, right? Some type of unfulfilled dreams, so it tells like the story maybe of a family that was bound to this place, like I mentioned before, like cards that I got before, that they were kind of like forced to leave, right? And in this case, unwillingly, right? And that their hopes slowly somehow like decayed into the stillness, unable to leave or unable to thrive, right? So the dining room, that is a room in our house that is a place of communion, of us, of our household. So the energy around it is a sad one, right? It's about loss, it's about some type of regret, and I feel that it just represents the family having to force leaving this house. Maybe physically, they had to step out, they had to leave the place, or maybe even spiritually. They had to leave the physical part and be absorbed into the energies of the house. That's what I got.
Ooh. All right. We are in the abandoned dining room. Oh my gosh. All right, I'll go. So in the abandoned energies hidden. Okay, so I feel comfortably numb. No. Okay, so this is the King of Wands energy. I feel, and he like the husband of De La Muerte. It was just this fiery energy of this dining room. How he commanded the feast. He commanded the guests. He much like the Queen of Wands, who commands her audience. He commanded his audience, but it was very ritualistic, very, I don't know, De La Muerte keeps coming to my mind with this card. But also, again, I think she finds that she was a part of this past. And she, along with this king here, this is the Magician card, by the way. With all her magics, everything was of ritual, and to the food they ate, the ritual of preparation, the ritual of spell work. So I'll stop there. I'll stop there.
Nice.
So,
I like that.
What Ramon was saying about going there against their will, it's interesting because I have the Six of Swords and the Chariot. Both of these cards are about movement being taken somewhere, but right in the middle of those two cards, I have the Four of Swords, the card of meditation, but it's still a Libra card. It's still a card of balance. It's all about pulling back, finding inner peace, finding inner balance. What I have started doing lately when I'm pulling cards is I keep a pad next to me so I could write down my thoughts. The trouble is I can never read my own writing. What I wrote was they were forced here against their will. They didn't want to do this. Instead of making the best of it, they spent all their time longing to be somewhere else. They could have taken control of the situation, is what I'm saying. They could have made it something powerful, but they weren't strong enough and they were overcome. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I'm hearing in my head. Ramon, translate it properly for me if you can.
I'm kind of going somewhere with it because I'm thinking. It just occurred to me that maybe they loved the house so much, the dwelling, the experience of maybe being a family, the land, that they never wanted to leave, and maybe they made some type of pact with the house to always be there, to be part of it. So maybe the whole family is infused in the house, right?
That
The
would make
the
sense.
the husband and wife in the kitchen, the kids in the nursery room, maybe the youngsters, their teens in the parlor. Um, so there might be a representation of the family. Maybe they are there. Maybe they were not forced to leave. Maybe we would interpret it that way, but they just mutated into the physical
Mutated.
dwelling.
They became
Right.
one with the
That's
dwelling.
my interpretation of what
I'm
you're
going
saying,
with it.
kind of.
I'm going with it. Let's go with that. Okay.
The transmutation of the
Exactly, transmutation,
That's the word.
right?
cabin came alive and absorbed.
Well, maybe some people want to be transmutated into a cabin, maybe a penthouse in Fifth Avenue. I don't know.
I want to be transmuted into a gem in West Hollywood.
Love it. All right,
Okay,
let's
so
go
what's
to the
next?
next question. Um, so we did the parlor. Dun, what spirit or memory clings to the dust-laden nursery? And what message does the lone rocking horse bring to Elena? So we want to explore what's the energy uh, in the nursery, related to the nursery, and that rocking horse that's in the nursery. So we're talking about the room itself and an element in the room, which is the rocking horse. There's a symbolism that we can try to explore there. Wow, that's insane. I'm gonna go first because these cards I got go perfectly with it. So the first card I got is the Page of Cups, right? And the Page of Cups is one about innocence, nostalgia, and some type of emotional message, right? A surprise. Second card I got is the Child, and the child.
Oh,
It's it's perfectly connected to the question, but also with this card, with the Page of Cups, and the child in Lenormand, represents youth, beginning, some type of innocence. So I feel that the combination of these two cards, well, they're saying that the nursery is might be haunted by the memory of innocence, but not just in terms of childhood, right? But also some type of unfulfilled potential that it's still lingering. Maybe in the presence of a child who maybe left too soon, right? Maybe it's evoking her personal experience of childhood, right? And the rocking horse itself might be a reminder of the loss of beginnings, the loss of direction. Maybe she felt she was going somewhere, but as we know, the rocking horse is stationary, right? Just going back and forth. It's that illusion of movement, but you're still in that same place. And at the same time, it's kind of like acknowledging or reminding Lara of what she left behind, her life, her previous life. That's what I got.
hmm.
I drew a few cards. The first one is the Two of Wands. This is all about plans being made. The nursery. Children are the next level of our lineage. We pass down things to our kids, our nephews, our nieces. They are the hope for our future. This child would have been the hope for this family's future. But what Ramon was saying, maybe there was potential loss, maybe the child died too soon. We have the Temperance card upside down. And from my Halloween Oracle, the Skull of Stars, which symbolizes potential infinite possibilities. And that's upside down. So both of these cards are saying the hope, all three of these cards are saying the hope for this family's future was lost somehow when this child died. And that may have sparked the desire to become one with the house, or it may have started the journey. Is that the
Loving
last
it.
one or two songs?
I got
Maybe they made up. Yeah, maybe they made a pact with the house. They want to see their child again, so
Or try
we
to bring it
will
back.
join the house in spirit form and be together.
well. Oh, loving that. Loving that. Okay. So why do I have to keep reading it? A spirit in of the memory. Look at this fun card here. If pigs fly, when pigs fly. um, the energy of this childlike fantasies and the imagination and the journey that was once. I'm going to repeat myself. Okay, let me start that one over. The childlike fantasies of the imagined journeys fill that space, but these journeys were short-lived, and the child. Hang on. This child was taken away, and gosh, what am I thinking of? The
I just had
Yeah, you're going somewhere with that. You're
I
continue because
know,
you're
and
going
it's
somewhere.
like, oh my God, I keep distracting myself. So many things. It's like Candyland, the game Candyland. There was. I feel like there was either portals or hidden doorways. The child's imagination was so strong that she manifested these imaginary places, and she ended up disappearing through those manifestations. And the rocking horse, I don't know if you can see this. This is so cute. This is the message of the rocking horse. Very much like Bobby's. It's the realization of the infinite possibilities in life, that Alara too has the power of manifestation, and she can manifest anything she would, anything like. And this is the Eight of Pentacles, so working towards the abilities and gifts that are long hidden, that will soon come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, something like that.
I love it. That was great. I love it.
So I just had an
That was awesome.
thought. What if the child was
Yes.
used to seal this deal?
Miss D speaks true.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Yay.
All right. Next question. How does each room's transformation shape the energy of the cabin? So there is a constant shift. So at the same time, the energy of the whole cabin changes with each shift, right? So how does how does the transformation of each one of these rooms shape the overall energy of the cabin? You understand the question, right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm reading the same question. Okay.
Jumpers. No matter what deck I'm doing. Okay.
Ooh, I'll go first on this one. I pulled the skull, and it says, so let's read this. How does each room's transformation shape the energy of the cabin? Wisdom, transformation, and the mysteries of the universe. Look at that skull. That is a pretty screepy. It's a screepy skull. So yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm gonna go there, and then I'm getting How does each room's transformation shape? Okay, through centuries and through the ancestral lines, that Alara is soon finding that she is part of the family that is once there. And each room's transformation shapes memories of her past and her ancestors' past, and the ways of
Mm-hmm.
the ways of the coven. That's what I feel. Oh,
Yeah, I got something kind of similar. Um, so first card from tarot that I got is the world, and as we know, the world is about completion, its cycles, its closure, right? And second card is the book from Lenormand, and the book is about knowledge, secrets, mystery, right? And so I feel that the combination of these two cards represents that each room, the transformation, each one of the rooms is kind of like a part of a larger puzzle, right? It's sort of like a cycle that's going towards a revelation, and that the cabin is sort of like a repository of hidden knowledge that when the rooms are shifting, they act like chapters of a story that Elara is being pulled through. And each space sort of like deepens her understanding of what's happening there, not only physically there, but also in her life. So these are like revelation of chapters in her life that she's being faced with, and that shapes the overall energy of the house, of the cabin.
wow.
Mine is very short. It's pretty much just me going, "Yep." Um,
Yep.
the the first card I drew is the Two of Swords from my Nuage's deck. This has been popping up in a lot of decks tonight. The reason I giggled when you said the book, Ramon, was because I drew the book.
Oh,
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and I giggled. I went, "Tee." And I giggled more when I drew the owl. So all three of these cards are about wisdom. They're about learning. They're about balance. They're about becoming something more. The question as to the vibe of the room, it's a testing field. The whole house is a testing field. It's designed not only to make you face your fears, your past, your joys, but to understand why you felt that way towards them. So exactly what Ramon was saying. And that's that.
That's interesting. Love it. All right, let's continue. We're almost there. So, we're going to continue with the story. The air grew colder, a deep chill settling into her bones as she felt the weight of the cabin pressing down on her. She wasn't alone. Something was trapped here, waiting, bound to the walls, to the floor, to the very air she breathed. A soft sound echoed from deeper within the cabin, a faint scraping that set her teeth on edge. She turned toward it, and the shadows seemed to ripple, moving in ways that defied reason. The presence in the cabin wasn't just restless, it was wounded, bleeding grief and rage into the air. Something terrible had happened here, and it had left a scar, a festering wound that refused to heal. But what happened here? So we're going to go to the next question. What trauma or tragedy lingers in the cabin walls, bleeding grief and rage into the air? So what kind of tragedy is still or trauma is here still in the walls? That is that it's infusing it with its energy into the cabin.
it's
Hmm.
Okay, I'll go first. Hey,
Yeah,
Marie.
go ahead.
Okay, look at this creepiness. Okay. Oh, what trauma or tragedy lingers? Okay. I don't know if you guys can see this card very well. Let's see. Okay. All right. It's the dark
Wow.
magics. The dark magics linger within the walls. It went deeper than they could ever imagine. It went darker than they could ever, um, they ever thought they could delve into. And so that lingers in the walls. And then within the walls, I feel like there's a portal. And that's how they got there, through this portal, and was battling with the light energies of the family that originally resided there. The battle that went on for centuries, because this family could fight off this evil with the power of love and light, but still the evil wanted this home, this space, this energy, because they wanted to spread this darkness
Hmm.
throughout the woods.
Wow. So you're saying it's a entity that is influencing the energy of the house and these
Yeah,
people who resided there. Something external, maybe from the land, the spirit of the woods. But it was something dark that influenced what was going on.
yeah.
Hmm. So I pulled two cards, and it's interesting because the first card I got is the Three of Swords. And this is, as we know, a card that talks about grief, about sadness, about heartbreak, possibly betrayal. And second card is the Scythe from Lenormand. And this card talks about a sudden ending, something that was cut off, some type of danger, some type of severance, right? So I feel that the combined meaning of these two cards says that the cabin, like it bears the scars of a deep loss, maybe a tragic event, something that ended abruptly, and it left a wound that never healed. Possibly, like I was theorizing, maybe it was the loss of the child, right? And it's that pain that you never overcome, and it clings to the walls, right? And it seeps sorrows and anger, and it's something that still demands some type of resolution, and that pain refuses the release of it and peace, right? So it's that pain that still lingers in the house. I feel that it was the loss of the child, right? Like I mentioned, and somehow the family made this pact. And there's an idea that I got from what Bobby was reading. Maybe they made a pact with the land, with the house, with spirits that were inhabiting around. Maybe that dark forest that you were mentioning, to see their child again, and the spirits are infused in the house, but still that pain lingers. That's what I got.
so every time you talk about the loss and grief, um, it's hitting my things because I wrote down the family's grief over the lost child, and that the grief was a catalyst to change the energy of perhaps there was an entity to the land, a diamond or Daemon, or what's the word I'm looking for? The spirit of the land. The oh,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, you're
But
asking the wrong person.
think the Indian burial ground. It's the spirit of the land. Okay, every
Mm,
land is all the land is alive. All right, I remember being in California. I went to a new place that I had never been, a new bar, and I walked in and I just got punched. And this was 30 years ago. I mean, the sickness hit me, and I knew I had to get out of there because the spirit of that land was not good for me. It was not welcoming. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking I drew the underworld card and Chthoniya. Okay, the Chthoniya card is an aspect of the goddess Hecate who deals with the earth and the underworld. Okay, and this is the underworld card. So all of this is wrapped up in what Ramon was saying and what you were saying about loss, grief, pain, poisoning the land, poisoning the spirit of the people that are going to come along and come in contact with the land. It's like a virus. It's just right, but it's a virus
Mm-hmm.
that we're going to find out can suck you in. Hey, so that's what I
Mm-hmm.
got.
Did you
Grief.
say succubus?
Well, that's interesting because you mentioned something that as you were talking, I was just thinking, we talk about like maybe negative energies of the land, right? But, like I feel that these energies are sort of like an aspect of Gaia, right? Like Gaia, she is such a big spirit, such a big entity, but she has a lot of facets at the same time. It's like, for example, the Virgin, right? There is the concept of the Virgin Mary, but there is a lot of versions of the Virgin Mary in different countries, right? Different names, different miracles. Same thing with Gaia, right? She is the one spirit of the earth, but at the same time, there is these spirits that they just are, but we interpret it as negative, dark, or painful. Just like with nature, right? Hurricanes, earthquakes, they're painful things that are part of the aspect of nature. So you were talking, I don't know, my mind went towards that when you were describing your interpretation of the card.
Hmm.
I love that. Venus loci.
What?
That's what it's called. The spirit of the land, a genus loci.
Oh,
Uh,
Uh,
love it.
loci meaning location, genius meaning
Right.
yeah,
awareness. So the
I
awareness.
know.
It's killing me.
I know. I can't think straight tonight.
I can sleep tonight now. Okay, that's good.
I haven't slept well
Mhm.
in about 2 weeks, and it's catching up with me today. I almost like I can't do this,
Mm.
Ramon. So I feel like I'm just
No,
performing tonight. I want to do over.
you're doing good. I mean, no, we could do a second part of the cabin. You're doing good. I mean,
I'm
let's
having fun
continue.
with this.
We're almost
I
there.
love making
We're almost
We're
done.
stories.
almost there.
All right. So let's continue with the story. The candlelight flickered, almost extinguishing, and Ilara felt her own heartbeat echo into the silence. She sensed eyes on her, a cold, lifeless gaze that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The cabin demanded something from her, something deep, a reckoning with the shadows of lives that had passed through these walls and never truly left. But she reached for her deck, hands trembling as she drew the next card. And the question is, what does the cabin demand from Ilara as she stands under its watchful gaze? So, what does the cabin want? That's funny because I was listening today to Ace of Base and this song came up. That song, all that she wants is another baby. So, what does the cabin want?
Another baby?
Oh, yeah.
There you
You
go.
know,
Another
That was
sacrifice.
good. That was good.
They needed. That's right. They sacrificed the baby. That's what.
That's what I said earlier. I didn't want to say it out loud.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Who
I
said
didn't want
that?
to say it.
Who
I was
came up
like,
with that
maybe
concept?
it went
maybe
dark.
they used the baby to seal the pact.
Oh my gosh.
And maybe there was regret afterwards.
Mhm.
It went the wrong way, and
Yeah,
we
and
should
now
explore
everything
that.
fuckered up.
That's why the baby had these fantasies that created the portals so that the baby, the young one, so they can escape. So they escaped because they were going to sacrifice her.
Ginger, left or right?
Yeah, left.
Interesting. So the card I pulled was the Judgment card. And there's a card about reckoning, some type of awakening, forgiveness, maybe self-judgment, right? And the other card for Lenormand I pulled is the key. And the key is about revelation, answers, destiny. So maybe the combination of these two cards, there's a sense of judgment or reckoning that the house is demanding from Elara, right? Maybe the cabin is demanding Elara to, is urging her to confront her truths, right? They're hitting within the walls and the shifting of these rooms, like we saw, right? And maybe it's seeking from her some type of acknowledgement, maybe her forgiveness, self forgiveness, and unlock a path towards some type of closure, right? And maybe, her presence is stirring like the remnants of some type of unfinished business, and it's pushing her towards a destiny, right? Intertwined with the cabin's secrets. So it's asking her to confront those fears and those things that are incomplete. That's what I got.
Funny you should say about that because I got the Restless Dead card by Entertain Path Dead.
Ooh.
Unquiet Past. Um,
Huh.
that coupled with the Spider card, which is about weaving, but if you look close, that's a trap. Okay, that's a web. That's a trap.
Mm-hmm. Or
Next
following
one,
a thread. Or following a thread.
absolutely. And the last card I drew was the Hermit card. So this, if I look at these three together, I'm reading regret. I'm reading things didn't go properly, and now we've got the Hermit. What I said earlier about the Fool falling down, looking back, and saying, "What the hell was that?" That's this card. They're saying, "What the hell do we do?" Okay. This house is a trap. It's become a trap. It may not have been intended to be a trap, but it has become a trap, okay, because of the Restless Dead. Did you guys see the Haunted House, the new Disney movie?
No.
There was one
No.
spirit trapping all the other spirits in that house. It's a really good, cute movie. You see it.
Oh my God! You say this, and let me show you this image. Oh, can you see it? Do I need to big edit? Talk about looking trapped.
That looks trapped.
That looks.
Anyway,
trapped.
that's what I got. What do you got?
Wow. Okay. So what does a cabin demand? Well, here's what the card says. This is the pavilion. Spiritual practice, self-discovery, spiritual awakening. And I also got the Justice card to match your, Ramon, your, what card did you have that's like the Justice?
The Judgment card.
Judgment.
The Judgment card. Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. So it's almost like the house demands justice.
There is judgment and then justice.
Right. And I'm still going like this with darkness and light, one of the two. Anyway. So
there's a theme there.
I think it's like demanding this certain spiritual awakening, which would liken to the ancestry of the magics that's part of her lineage. And then maybe the justice is about turning these darker magics of her past into the love and light magics of today, for today.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you were
There is
talking
that.
about darkness and light, and then the Justice card. So that sense, that search of a balance
Yeah.
between both.
So
Mm-hmm.
the house is the cabin's demanding she bring balance.
Mm-hmm. Closure, which is what I was talking, right?
Yeah.
You know,
So yeah,
confronting her
that's
traumas and fears, and mm-hmm.
that's true. You did say that.
Ooh.
All right.
Having all comes together.
So
We're almost
mhm.
done.
Yes. So
The end isn't the
she
goal. The journey is the goal.
yes, she took a step back, her breath quickening, but the door behind her has swung shut, sealing her within. The walls seemed to pulse, as though breathing, and the shadows thicken, taking on shapes, faces, distorted and twisted, watching her. She felt the cards slipping from her fingers, falling to the floor, one after another, each card landing face up in a perfect line, a trail leading deeper into the cabin. Her last card fell silently to the floor. And the question is, what final truth does the last card unveil about the fate that awaits her within the cabin's unyielding, hungry shadow? So, what is the final truth that this card is revealing about her fate in the cabin?
I drew one
And
card.
that's question 13. What do you
I
got?
drew the graveyard.
Ooh.
The graveyard.
How
But
appropriate is that?
it does mean unnecessary fear. So she may not have as much to fear as she thinks she does. Okay. That was cool though. I pulled the graveyard. Yay!
And I think, well, I don't know. One card, two, one, two. Look at this ominous world card. Okay, so what's the final truth? We own your soul.
Yes. And I'm there with you because first card I got was the devil. And you know the devil is about entrapment, right? It's about hidden fears, but it's about bondage, about being trapped. And the second card from Lenormand I got is the moon, and the moon is about illusions, it's dreams, it's about the subconscious in its interpretation in Lenormand. So I feel that the interpretation here is that the cabin's final revelation, it's kind of like unveiling some type of bondage, right? Of her fears, her illusion, and
Ramon said,
entrap. Yeah, it's a entrapment. She's trapped, right? She has that. Initially, she had the illusion that maybe she was able to leave the cabin, but that's not the case. She's entrapped, right?
right.
This is a place that she's going to be consumed by.
Yeah.
It's gonna draw her into
Literally.
this cycle of
Right.
fear, deception, unless she finds a way to break free. But again, it's all an illusion. She's gonna be bounded to this place, and the hunger of the house somehow is gonna consume her.
So I'd like
Sure.
to
Before you start,
see a
Ginger,
little bit
can you do
more.
me a
Yeah.
favor?
Huh?
Can you lean to the left about
Me.
6 inches? Yes. The other side. There. No, the other side. The other side. Right there. Look at that. You got a crown of light. I love it.
like 5 horns of light.
Right, 5 horns of light.
Talking
So,
about the devil, right?
yeah. Well, here's what's interesting. My next card. So this is she was drawn into this other world. You know, they feel they've you know, we own your soul. But look at my Fool card, and you pulled the devil, Ramon.
Oh wow.
I
Wow.
like it.
I love that full
It's
card.
the
I love
devil
it.
who owns her soul. It
I
went
like
deeper
how all
and
this
darker.
trip so far we've been talking about transformation and dealing with her past traumas, and then we get to the last end and we're like, it's the graveyard, the devil's coming.
Yes. So what happens? There
Oh
is a final paragraph that closes the story. So the candle went out, plunging her into the darkness as the cabin claimed her, pulling her into its endless, hungry shadow, and her final scream was swallowed by the night. So she was trapped. She
my gosh.
disappeared
Totally.
into the cabin.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And that was the cabin. Now
Wow.
we extrapolated about a lot of possible storylines from this. So we definitely have to do a cabin 2, maybe a
Yes.
cabin 3, a
Mm.
cabin 4. But we have to do more cabins. Like a follow up to the story because
Oh, we have to
there
go
is a
into
we got to know
under the
we
cabin.
have to know maybe dig deeper into the stories of the people who inhabited the cabin, right?
Yeah.
Um you know maybe the families who lived there, the souls who walked into the house, because maybe Elara wasn't the first one. Maybe there were previous ones.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
they lure people in by pretending to be this perfect,
You
loving
know,
family, and
you
then when
were
they
right.
sit at the dining table, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
If you were writing this into a story or
Because
more of a
because
book,
she's
you
the
should.
cabin, right? Because the story is describing maybe from like the perspective of someone who's observing, right, that she saw the silhouette she was drawn into, but we don't know what she was actually interpreting from what she was looking at.
mhm,
Maybe it looked like a desolated
mhm.
forest, maybe a decayed cabin, but like you were saying, maybe uh, it looked festive, it looked happy, and
Yeah.
so there is more to explore to the story. A
I think
We
perfect
don't know
excuse
if,
for more cabin stories.
there we go.
absolutely, we don't know if she became, dessert or if she
We could
became
do
the
every
new
story,
manager of the house. We don't know what happened to her.
right?
I want to find out. So,
A bed and breakfast for the spirits.
oh my gosh, that'd be so cool.
We should do 3 parts to each story we come up with.
Oh,
Yeah.
The trilogy, the cabin, the trilogy.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god! Oh my god, guys, this was fun. I hope you
This
guys
was fun.
enjoyed it.
I had
I
fun.
had
Thank you for
fun.
inviting me.
Yeah. So
Yes, we have
I
to
hope
do more of
everybody in
this.
chat. I don't know how many people we have. 16 still with us between the 3
Wow.
channels. I kept forgetting to look up there, and I kept forgetting since we're multi-streaming how some people's chats weren't on my phone. So I hope that. Okay, so Linda, this is what I want to know. So Linda, you could see my reply to you. If I reply on StreamYard, it looks like everybody can see my reply, which I've always wondered because Linda was saying that this story, let's see, uh, felt a little personal to her.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Lindsay said it feels so personal. Yeah.
right. So, gosh, I hope, yeah.
Honey, avoid haunted houses. That's all I'm saying.
So, Gigi, I
Don't go
just
into the
found you to Ghost
woods.
Squad's posting. Oh, did he post start live tonight? That would be awesome.
Huh.
Oh, So I'm trying to get Ghost Squad on Tarotnormal Investigation with us.
Ghost Squad Scotland?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
Chris. He's going to be on I'm going to be on his channel
You're gonna
tomorrow.
be on his. Oh, you are?
Yes, I'm doing his Halloween show with him.
Okay. Are you multi-streaming?
I think I am. Yes, I'm setting it up for I think it's at 3 o'clock my time.
Okay. So 6 o'clock my time. I'll be home. But yeah, so try to talk to him, and because we would love to do a Tarotnormal investigation on one of his investigations. That would be fun.
Oh, I'm sure he'd love it.
Because I've always wanted to do that, so that I can see what does the tarot reveal, and how is it any kind of synchronicities with the way their investigation went. So similarities, synchronicities. So so thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. This was a first of, I hope, many.
You just wanted to be stuck between two handsome Mexicans.
I did. Oh my gosh. Yes, I did. So, Ramon, that was a wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. Awesome. This could be a thread. We should definitely continue more cabin stories.
Okay, we'll do cabin too.
Make a series from it. Yes.
Right?
Totally.
The two already underneath the cabin. Yeah, they did. They were in a series. So that would be great for a Saturday night, because I have to get up early and go to work. But
yeah,
gentlemen and everybody in chat, thank you so much. And if you wouldn't mind liking,
thank you for being here,
sharing the channels, and
subscribing.
Leave a comment on after the show, especially on my page, because I want to know what everybody, because I can't see everybody's page. But leave a comment on each of our page, even if it's the same comment. Let us know. Do you like it? Do you want more? Shall I put up another poll on after the cabin series? And what would you like to see next in a story? So, I mean, from catacombs to other planets. What's on your mind? So,
what's in your wallet?
What's in your
wallet? No, for real. Just leave us comments of like what kind of twists you would like to see, maybe theme related to the story. We can make it happen.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Stick around. And
thank you for having us.
We'll do a little planning and collaborating. So, everyone, have a great Halloween. Have a
blessings
safe
to everybody.
Halloween. Gothic blessings, and we will see you next time.